That chick's got a face that would make a train take a dirt road. Those yoga pants aren't lying. Whew. It's like two midgets fighting under a blanket. So shiny, and it's time to kick yo hiney. Well, not anymore. You look shiny and beautiful. Ah, warms the heart. Hey everyone, how's it going, eh? Todd the Cheap Drums Guy. So here we are, the last day of my vacation, or a staycation, however you want to call it. All recouped, healed up, feel really good, in better spirits. Today, as you see me sitting by my premier, you're welcome, Olympic drum set. I love this kit, and I'm so glad to have it back up again. It took the place of the Pearl Soundcheck, which I recently broke down. Now, I really haven't done any maintenance to this drum set since I initially got it, so it needed a little attention today, as well as the hardware and cymbals, especially the hardware. It's been a few months since I addressed the issues with that and cleaned it all up, but that's what today's video is going to be about. Drum maintenance. A lot of people don't believe in it, and it shows. It's not something that you can blow off. It is something you have to keep in the back of your mind all the time. Every time you look at a piece of gear, you need to inspect it and check it out and make sure it's going to work right for you. And a little preventive maintenance goes a long, long way. So today, we're going to break down the Pearl Soundcheck kit, and we're going to bring in this kit, piece at a time. And as we do it, the hardware is going to be looked at, it's going to be cleaned. The cymbals are going to be cleaned and inspected, and the drums are going to be taken apart, inspected, cleaned, put back together, and tuned up. And that's what today's video is on about, drum maintenance. So stick around, I hope you watch. So my sleeves are in really good shape. They are fairly new. These are only about a year old, but the cymbals can wear on the sleeve eventually and make that pop right off, but those are in pretty decent shape still. Then again, I really don't clobber my cymbals too hard. But just going a quick once over, I like to, I use the memory locks. I like using these myself. Sometimes I forget to return them to their place after I've used them, but for the most part they work really well. Alright, I got one that fell off behind the air conditioning and heat pipe right there, and I can't remember where the hell that one went. As far as cleaning them though, now what I like to use myself is a mixture of water and vinegar, mixed 50-50, some warm water, and I just like using that. It works fine. Today I'm experimenting with something a little different, stainless steel cleaner that we picked up when we bought our new appliances a couple months ago. And with this, I'm just going to spray a little bit on the washcloth and pretty much wipe down the entire surface of the stand. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Smells like cinnamon. Ooh. Now granted, is this a real necessary step? No. but I like to do this because I like my gear looking shiny and looking brand new. You know, the longer you can keep it looking brand new, the better. But this stand is relatively new. It's one of my D-Drum RX series stands, and this thing is an absolute monster. It is super strong and can never had an issue. I don't think I ever have an issue with this thing. Super heavy duty, and the legs will really spread out there. Unfortunately, it takes up a lot of room. Usually on these heavier duty, I have 3 heavy duty cymbals stands and 4 lighter ones. Of course, the heavier duty ones I use to hold up my bigger crashes and my ride cymbal. And sometimes you can tell if your cymbal stand is really dirty. You feel a little friction when you're rubbing it across the stands, but this one's in really good shape, really clean still. I don't let my stuff degrade, so. Ooh, look at that, she's pretty. Looks brand spanking new. Chicks dig shiny things. Well, due to circumstances beyond my control, i.e. the wife consistently calling me over and over again, you missed out on me cleaning the bass drum inside and out, moving the pillow. I didn't fluff the pillow, but did a basic cleaning on the inside of the bass drum, and now I'm just working on the outside. And I'm looking at anything that might be of an issue. Now this is an older drum, and although somebody did take pretty good care of it, they weren't the cleanest of souls. And oh God, oh, that looks so good, so much better. You know, it's just kind of like taking a shower, I guess. You know, you've been working all day, you smell like a dumpster, you go back home, take a shower, how nice and clean and refreshing you are. It's the same thing. You know, of course the drums are inanimate object. They don't feel stuff like that. You know, just a tool. But you know, take some pride in what you're doing. Take some pride in what you have. This world would probably be a lot better place. Now, if I could have, well, I'd like to have had this kit when it was brand new, because the chrome wouldn't be in as bad a shape. Not saying it's in bad shape, it's just there's, well, the chrome could be in better shape, but it still cleans up rather nice. I got most of it done, all the stuff on the bottom. Everything looks good. I just have to retune it. Oh boy, she's so pretty. And I usually have it sitting right there. I usually have a bottle of citrus cleaner, and seem to have misplaced it. And the wrap on the hoop is starting to give a little bit right there. Not too much where I'd have to, you know, worry about it, but nonetheless. Now, as far as cleaning drums with wraps on it, I don't care what is on it. Decals, stickers, or decals, whatever you want to call them. Never use graffiti remover on it, because you are going to be very upset with the results, because it will eat that plastic on that wrap. It will eat it up, and you will be left with a real cloudy patch that, unless you have a buffer and some car polish, you will not be able to get it out. Stuff like goof off, yeah, never use that on the surface. I don't know how it would work on a surface with a lacquer finish, but I know from experience in watching somebody, not my own, but watching somebody else do it, that yeah, it has detrimental effects to a wrap. So don't use stuff like goof off. I don't care what kind of decals are on that drum shell or on the wrap, just it's going to make it worse. But look at that. Well, she looks so pretty. That's a beautiful color. And despite its age, it still looks really nice. Getting the 12-inch tom apart, I already checked. I didn't check every screw, but I checked every other lug screw to see if they were tight, make sure none of them was backing out, and they were all pretty much good to go. Now, since I had it apart, I was going to take the opportunity to put on the Gibraltar rims mounts for these. Unfortunately, these are supposed to fit just about every drum out there. This must be the only one it doesn't fit, because it is just a fraction off and I can't get it to fit on these. Oh well. So no rims mounts for the Olympic, but that's fine. Gave the bearing edge a quick once over, and while I'm at it, I'm cleaning just above the lugs too, because that's kind of a miss spot now and again. And that is good to go. Give the inside of the shell a wipe down, because there is dust that collects in there, and I'm not taking off the resonant heads just because I'm kind of being lazy today and I really don't think it's necessary for this. However, there are little tiny bits of wood in there, so got to get the Hoover. Get out of the way, you little schmuck. Get out of the way. Make you go away. So that's clean. Bearing edge is okay. Now again, even though the badge says Premier, it's a sticker badge, this is one of their bulk buy sets that Premier just bought a bulk of sets and put their own stickers on it, so they didn't have to build them. There's a big difference between these and actual Premier built drums from their factory at Leicester. The factory built drums are flawless. Oh my God, they're just absolutely beautiful. Built by craftsmen. These, not so much, but it's still a wonderful drum. It doesn't have to be perfect. You know, Neil Peart, the late Neil Peart, could take the world's worst piece of crap drum set and still make it sound good. It has a lot to do with the player. Well, yeah, whatever. Washer is spinning, so I apologize for that. So right now, let's get the head. I usually give this a quick cleaning on the inside and on the outside, because stuff will accumulate here in the seal. Nothing wrong with the head at all. Now, this is something, it's kind of opinion. Whether you put much stock into this opinion or not is another thing. But every drum head has a seam. Luckily on the Sequarian head, the Sequarian Super 3 ring, the name brand, which I like, is at the top. And I always put that lined up with the drum badge. Is that important? No, it's not. It's just personal preference. So might this. Directly opposite is the actual seam of the head on this aluminum part here. I mean, they're not all carved out of solid blocks of aluminum. That doesn't work that way. they're put together. Now, it's always a good practice that, despite the name or whatever it is, where that seam is, it should not be lined up with a lug. It should be spaced between two lugs. Now, some people put a little into that theory, some people discard it altogether. I put a little into it, but mainly I want the name brand of the head right where that badge is at. And luckily for me, perfect. So that's good to go. The head sits nice and flat. It doesn't wiggle at all. But on the hoop, I noticed something when I was taking the heads off. Now, you don't want a lot of friction with your tension rods. There was a little bit of friction on these. So I wanted to help those out a little bit. Now, unfortunately, I ran out of my grease for the tension rods. You know, you'd think I'd be prepared for something like this. But all is not lost. I can use something else. And I've used this in the past and it's worked out fine for me. And it's just Vaseline. This one's actually Vicks Vapor Rub. Vaseline, it's the same thing, pretty much. And how I can tell I've used it, or I've used it on a lug, I'll just take a sniff and I can smell the menthol. And it helps to get the tension rods in there nice and smoothly. Make sure it's nice and even all the way around. And this, as well as using like white lithium grease, just a little dab will do ya. And I wish I had some more of those Danmar vinyl washers, as I had to outfit this drum with that, but unfortunately I ran out. I've got like 5 left, 5 or 10. So the toms are back together, all of them, floor tom, 12 and 13, and I'm just cleaning up the snare stand. What's-her-face, now the what's-her-face I am married to, and the other what's-her-face should be here any time, so then they'll come down and bug me and distract me from what I'm supposed to be doing, which is minding my own damn business. One important thing to check on your snare stand is the little supporting pieces here at the basket at the top. Those things are pretty important to have on there. It keeps your snare from getting damaged. And I have a second snare stand, the inexpensive one, the one I pretty much got with my first drum set. Very inexpensive. And it was missing one of those. And so how I fixed that was I took these off, and I took a good pair of, or not a good pair, but an old pair of work gloves, and I cut the fingers off them. And they were padded gloves, had rubberized fingertips to protect them a little bit, and so I used that on the ends of my snare basket to keep my snare from getting damaged. I rarely use that basket now. The only time I ever use it on the rare occasion that I break the kit down into just a single tom. I don't mount it in the bass drum, I'll just put it on the snare stand. I don't do that very often. That seems to be the kind of trendy thing to do with YouTube drummers. That's all they need. As every time I've heard it explain it, they've said that's all they need. Well, that's kind of boring. One tom, one floor tom, bass drum snare, two cymbals, maybe a crash and a ride along with their hi-hats. It's not that hard to set these things up. And when you got them up, you don't have to move them around all the time. So why not just leave the stuff on? Why are you trying to be trendy? What does it matter? I don't understand. I don't understand most things in this world. I've been on this earth 55 years, and I don't have a clue. Just as well. I know when we got sent to Fort Irwin, California, that's where the Combat Maneuver Training Center is. It's hundreds of miles of desert and mountains that the U.S. military trains in. One of the best, arguably probably the best training area the United States Army has. They've got millions and millions and millions of dollars into this place. And it's really cool. And I went there 6 times for training. It's a whole month long. You live out in the desert for about a month. Sometimes the training is excellent, sometimes it's not. But the interesting thing is, it's in the Sierra Nevada mountains? Absolutely beautiful. Everything in the desert isn't beautiful. It's just never been there. And sunset, the purple hues and the reds, and it's just crazy beautiful. But another interesting thing is it's kind of close. It's around Barstow, California, which is kind of a hole, but it's not really that far from Area 51 and the S4 site. There's weird stuff at night. Now, going about how I know so little of this world, even though I've been in 24 different countries and seen a lot and done a lot, I still know very little of this world. And sometimes the less you know, the better. And with all those deployments at Fort Irwin and setting out at night after the sun goes down, just admiring the sunsets. No place in the world, I think, has better sunsets and sunrises than the United States. Like I said, I've been to 24 different countries, and it's never been as beautiful as of the places I've been in the United States. It's just top notch. But at night, after the sun has gone down in that area, I've been up 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and out in the middle of the desert, it is dark. You're walking down the street, oh, it's dark outside. We got street lights and whatnot, ambient light from the light, all the lights around the houses and stuff. But in the desert, it's dark. It is just insanely dark because there is no light whatsoever except the stars. And you think now and again you see a lot of stars where you live? In the desert, oh my gosh, it's spectacular. But along with that, you see other things. And given the close proximity to Area 51 and the S4 site, you see a lot of weird stuff. I'm not a big UFO guy. Well, except I like that UFO drum back there, but dryer's done. But when you're sitting there at night, you're just sitting back having a cigarette, drinking a Mountain Dew, because you just got done with some kind of mission, and you're just taking it all in, taking it in the quiet, listening to your vehicle cool down, and you're looking up at the sky and you see weird lights. Weird lights. I know I've seen satellites go by, I've seen meteors, I've seen all sorts of aircraft, helicopters do weird things at night, but when you see something come out of the sky and go and completely gone, like that, sometimes you really don't want to know what that is. the world's a big mystery to me. And the things that happen out there in the desert are even a bigger mystery. But you know, I don't want to know what's going on there. I have no desire. Just as long as it keeps us safe, that's all that matters to me. You know, if you want Han Solo and Chewbacca up there running around, that's fine and dandy. You know, as long as it keeps the peace, that's all that matters. All right, that is one clean snare stand. I gotta find, there we go. All right, now I gotta get them pedals. This 20-pound monster, my gosh. Now, I haven't had this for very long, so there's really not a lot to do on it. I did check all the fittings, put a drum key on it, make sure everything's still tight. But the biggest thing is now is just getting the dust off it. Now, generally down here, sometimes I play in socks, sometimes I play in bare feet. Sometimes I use my slippers. No matter what you do or how you play, you're going to get foot dander, I call it, on your pedals. As long as all your hardware is tight, everything's wiped off clean and dandy and shiny, no squeaks. If you have any squeaks at all, if you can locate where the squeak is, one little single drop of 3-in-1 oil will do the trick. It doesn't take much, and it'll go right away. And again, like I said, I haven't had this for very long, so it's not very dirty, but it's no excuse not to check everything out, especially the chain. Now the chains, you don't want to put oil on these chains. You know, it's not a bike chain. Well, even a bike chain you really don't want to put oil on. And there's a reason for that. Oil will pick up dust and dirt. And generally anything else that's in the roadway that gets kicked up, it'll adhere to the oil. And what you're left with at the end of the day is a chain covered in all sorts of brownish black goop. I used to ride mountain bikes quite a bit, and I'm looking to get back into mountain bikes again. But when I was doing it on a regular basis, I never used oil on the chains. I never used WD-40 for that same purpose. What I ended up using was a waxed base lubricant called White Lightning. It's not the only brand, but there are other similar brands too. But what that is, it's a waxed based lubricant. It'll go on your chains, and it won't pick up the dirt, it won't pick up dust and whatnot, but it does exactly what it's supposed to do. It keeps your chain lubed, and also that wax acts as a preservative, so it prevents the chain from rusting. So if I were you, just my opinion, don't put any oil-based products on your chain. Go to a bike shop. It might cost you a little bit more. I know you probably have WD-40 out in the garage, or the garage, like I call it. I do out there. I have all sorts of crap to put on chains, but I won't do it. It's always good to spend a little bit more to get a better product, and I would advise a waxed-based product for bike chains. Every town's got bike shops. We've got probably 5. And it'd probably be the cheapest thing in the bike shop, because when I was looking around for mountain bikes, there was not a bike in any of these shops less than $1,000. I'm like, really? Do I need to spend? There was bikes in there for $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. It's just a freaking bike. Absurd. Well, they'll never get my business unless I just come in for some chain lube, a wax-based chain lube. And they'll probably still want $50 for it. But I think I like clean cymbals, and I cannot lie. If you're not one of those people who likes clean cymbals, skip this part. I myself like clean cymbals. But before I clean my cymbals, I also got to take a look at them. Now, it's important to have the cymbal sleeve on your cymbal stands, because if you don't, you're risking metal-to-metal contact between the cymbal and the stand itself. And over time, that perfect little circle right there can turn into an oval, and that oval can start cracking. It's not a good thing. There's really not much you can do to fix that. Another thing to do, besides the overall general appearance of it, make sure there's no cracks anywhere in here. If you're one of those heavy hitters and you're breaking your cymbals, you get what you deserve it if you're going to hit your cymbals that hard. But it's always good to check around the circumference of the cymbal along the edge. If there is a crack, you might not be able to see the crack, but you'll be able to feel it, because there'll be a little tiny separation in that, and your finger will notice it. So that one's good to go. Okay, and this big Sabian XS20 does not have any cracks. So what I'll do then, because even though I try not to handle my cymbals, you're going to anyways. So what I do, I give it a quick wipe down with my schmutz rag on the dirty side, and then turn on the clean side. And where did I go? Where did it go? There it is, right at my feet. Oh, too old to be doing that. And then with the clean side of the rag, I like to use lemon scented pledge. I don't endorse this. They don't pay me to do anything up, to use their product. I just like using it. So I give it a quick spray. And start at the bell and work my way outwards. And this stuff does take off the fingerprints. It's not really a cleaner, it's a furniture polish. And usually leave enough on there so I can do the back side. I'm not that concerned with the back side of the cymbal, the bottom of it. Okay, and while I'm doing this side is dried. And once that side is dried, I come back in with the clean cloth, because the pledge will leave a little, really wouldn't, it's kind of a film. If you really look for it, you can see it, but it's always good to come back with a clean cloth, start at the bell, and following the lathing, do circles, and get her nice and clean. Kind of like putting lipstick on a pig. Alright. And try not to drop it. Alright, this one is ready to mount. Alright. Well, she's all set up, all ready to go. All the cymbals are fine, nothing wrong with them, no cracks, no keyholes. The drum shells are fine, no cracks, no bubbling wrap. The chrome has been polished on it, the heads have been tuned up. I'm ready to go. And I'll probably have this one up for a couple of weeks. I just love having this kit up. I changed the cymbals around a little bit, rearranged them a little bit, and try that out for a little bit. This area is always just strange for cymbals for some reason for me. But I hope you found some of this information useful. Granted, a lot of it's just common sense. Maintenance is a very important part of upkeep. I mean, your maintenance, you can't let it slide. You can't let it slide. You gotta keep on top of things. It's best be proactive with everything, preventive maintenance. But anyways, I'm going to get up on out of here. Might play a little bit for a while still, but we have another guest coming today, and I got to go upstairs and get the house cleaned up and the floors done and kick the dogs around a little bit. But anyways, I hope you found this video interesting, and You people have a great week. Be good to each other, no matter how different they are or how weird it may seem to you. Just be good to each other. Treat others as you'd expect them to treat you. But I'm Todd, the Cheap Drums Guy. You people have a great week, and I'll talk at you later. Oh, and you did see that I was wearing those. I do wear them. I don't want to hear any more of it.